Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. I hope you're all very well tonight. I hope the stream is working fine tonight. Had some problems last time, but hopefully it seems to be going fine. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. I just want to run through the names. Well, we're up to 170 viewers. That's amazing. So big thank you to Killer for moderating once again. Thank you so much, Killer. We have Craig James. Great to see you, Craig. Hope you're well. We have Conservator. Great to have you on again, Conservator. We have, who else have we seen? Eddie. Great to see you, Eddie. Eddie, pineapple pizza and baby sham has been delivered. Lennon, thank you so much for coming on the stream. Great to see you. Hope you're well. Barry, great to see you, Barry. Draconic, great to see you. Dano, great to have you on again. We have, let me see. Tiny Demolition Lover, great to see you. Mo, great to have you on. Dude, great to have you on. What was James O'Brien wrong about? Glasgow Kids, great to see you. We have also Catherine, great to see you. Lots of cookies, great to have you on once again. Hope you're very well. Good evening, Guillotine friends. Good evening. Obi Don, great to see you. Cotton Cat, great to have you on again. Tony, we have Tony Blair on the stream. Great to have you on, Tony. Hope you're well. David, great to see you, David. David says it's a Tony Blair troll. No, I don't believe that for 1 second. Who else have we got? Reagan Elite, great to see you, Reagan. We have Zoe Castles, great to have you on again, Zoe. Let me see. David, great to see you. Andrew, great to have you on again, Andrew. We have Pete, great to see you. Sugar free. We have sugar free and lots of cookies. Hope they don't mix. RHIC, great to see you. Jean. CGM, great to have you on, CGM. Hope you're well. Gingers. Kenny, great to have you on, Kenny. Cameron. Elliot. And I just have to go through everyone really quickly. Morag. We have AO. Die Heimschrijver. I know I'm mispronouncing that. William. Nicholas. John O'Sullivan. Joe. Ben. Jim. Who else? Wow, so many people on tonight. Wow, we're at 260. That's amazing. Great. Wee Scott's Dog, I see. Aki's Mad, great to have you on. Graham, great to see you. Partici Powell, great to have you on. I don't think I've seen you for a while. Glenn, great to have you on. So great to have everyone on. Thank you so much for coming on the stream tonight. Magister, great to see you. The Border Riker, great to have you on. So, once again, thanks for coming on. The last stream was hilarious. We talked about toilets in Dover, or toilets in Kent. Yanra, great to see you. So that was an amazing stream. So I'd love to do something like that again soon again. So I want to say thanks for coming on. If you'd like to support the stream, you can become a patron. If you'd like to send me a super chat, I'll prioritize your comment. And I'll respond to it immediately. So let's jump into the stream tonight. Boris Johnson is full of beans and also full of antibodies, as he says. But I actually want to come to this article a little bit later. So it says here, prepare for low-key Christmas, England COVID experts warn. So Christmas is not going to be very merry this year. People should prepare for a low-key Christmas, even one spent outdoors, public health experts have said, because the second lockdown might not significantly suppress the rate of the coronavirus infections. Now, if we turn back our minds a little bit to a couple of weeks ago, where Boris Johnson in Parliament said, we're going to end the this new lockdown on the 2nd of December. And I said at the time, how can you know that the 2nd of December will be the date? Scott's Dog, great to see you. How can you set a date for the end of the lockdown? I think it was a stupid idea. They should have kept Jeremy Corbyn suspended. That man destroyed my once great party. Yeah, I'm going to come to that as well, Tony. Don't worry. But it's looking more and more likely that the lockdown will be extended. Probably, I think Boris Johnson said, yeah, we'll end the lockdown on the 2nd of December, so as to avoid a rebellion. And I've talked about this before, how Boris Johnson and Theresa May before him would make decisions based on the situation of the day. There was no long-term planning. So it's like, yeah, look, we'll probably have to extend it, but let's pretend that we don't have to extend it. Let's set a date so that we don't face a huge rebellion today. We'll deal with the rebellion when, on the 2nd of December or before, when we have to extend. But it just creates confusion, and it turns trying to keep some sort of anti-lockdown crazy people within the party happy undermines your fight against this pandemic, and it undermines public trust, because you're telling the public, don't worry, we're going to reopen, because the public also believe, when you're broadcasting that you're going to open in December the 2nd, reopen everything. It's not just the Tory party who are listening, it's also the public. And the public think, okay, we're going to have a lockdown for 1 month and then we go back to normal. 1 month for a lockdown won't be enough, especially seeing how the figures look. Yes, I agree. Mystic Meg, I thought was Septic Peg, the conversation. Septic Peg. Okay. Officials and ministers are still awaiting key data on the effectiveness of the 4-week restrictions imposed across England, meaning a promised update to Parliament on the next steps is unlikely to happen before late next week. Scientists said that while they accepted the economic need for shops and hospitality businesses to reopen before the crucial festive season, the advent of seemingly effective vaccines meant people could consider postponing big family get-togethers. We really have to be careful that we don't just focus on what's going to happen in 6 weeks' time, said Professor Catherine Noakes, a member of the government SAGE, who was speaking to The Guardian in a personal capacity. I don't know how you speak to the newspapers in a personal capacity while you're, an expert advising the government. I know it is human nature to do that, but we will be better off planning for the longer duration and thinking of actually, can we have a more low-key Christmas and New Year this year, and perhaps plan to do a bigger family celebrations in the summer when the risks are lower, are likely to be lower for all sorts of reasons. Yeah, I actually agree with that. The idea, it's nice to get together for Christmas. You could even promote some new event, summer Christmas or something like that. The idea of getting people together, saying, look, we need to avoid massive get-togethers during Christmas and New Year's. New Year's is going to be a disaster, I think. Are pubs and restaurants going to be open? It's not looking likely, but if they were to open, if pubs were to open for New Year's, towns would be full, and I'm afraid that people may actually just come out anyway. You're going to have crowds on New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve, I don't think so, but certainly New Year's Eve, I don't know how they're going to convince people not to celebrate. And a lot of people will be trying to celebrate the end of 2020. Although I have a feeling 2021 isn't going to be that much better. Gordon says hi. Say hello to Gordon. We heard today, Tony, that Boris Johnson said that Scottish devolution was your worst mistake. Hap says, Max, have you ever reacted to Mayortusi? You're aware of his Brexit? Yes, I am. I'd love to see you take. Yeah, I will. A number of people have asked me to do a response video to him, so Gordon's alive. So I will do a response video some of the next days to his Brexiteer things. And I actually noticed that his... Like, I didn't actually follow his content really, but I noticed recently it has gone a bit downhill. Tony, what's going on? Explain yourself. For UK 2020 is the best year of the decade. Alcohol is the great leveler in more ways than one. It'd be like shooting fish in a barrel. No need to visit grandma. Nothing says love like an Apple gift card. That's true. Commenter like Jeff. Okay. Professor Gabriel Scally, a visiting professor of public health of the University of Bristol and a member of the independent SAGE group of experts, said he had little hope that the latest lockdown will quash the spread of the virus, given the spring lockdown had little effect in reducing infection levels in some parts of England. Yeah. Of course, it wasn't enough of a lockdown to get the numbers down, but we've talked about this before. I think it's quite sad that we're not going to be able to celebrate Christmas. Just to give you some information about here in Italy, there are different regions. Let me see, I can try and bring it up on the screen. I can show you where I am. Maps. So this is the region that I live in. We are in yellow alert, while the region surrounding me, which is called Friuli Venezia Giulia, Emilia Romagna, Trentino Sud Tirol, Trentino Alto Adige, these regions are in red and orange. So I'm quite concerned at the moment that the area that I'm living in, we're going to go into orange or red, and it means that we are not able to move around at all. But we will see. Let me go back to your comments for a moment. Until schools close, it won't be controlled. Yeah, Mrs. Max actually was telling me about some schools here in Italy that a considerable number of teachers in the schools have become tested positive, and that means that teachers have to be replaced. Other teachers have to take over the workload, and that means that those teachers are at risk of getting infected as well, and then the schools get infected, and we need to close the schools. I think it's not the ideal situation, but how is the Italian health service coping this time around, Max? So in Italy, you have to remember Italy is pretty much divided into 2 or 3 parts. You have the north, the center, and the south. In the north, where Milan and where I am, things, in Milan, Lombardy area, it is struggling. But where I am here in Veneto, it is actually doing, we're doing quite well at the moment. With the healthcare system is coping. The problem is in the south of Italy, where it's been terribly underfunded forever. There's a huge gap between the north and the south of Italy, and a number of hospitals are at capacity at the moment in the south of Italy. So we're very concerned about that. And if it breaks, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have civil unrest. We already has some civil unrest at the moment in the south of Italy. And protests are being organized by the mafia. Hooray! If a protest is bad, but when it's organized by the local mafia, then you know you're in big trouble. Thank you very much for your kind comments to Mrs. Max and I. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let's move. So what I want to do now is I just want to talk about how some people are going to benefit from all of this disaster. And Rishi Sunak, who's the Chancellor, in this article says Rishi Sunak refuses to say if he will profit from Moderna COVID vaccine. He's refusing to say if he will profit, which means yes, he will profit. Chancellor's former hedge fund invested heavily in Moderna, which had 94.5% trial success. He's smiling in this picture because he knows, I'm going to make a lot of money out of this. Artemis, great to see you on the stream. Hope you're well. Nearly 400 viewers. That's amazing. Great to have everyone on the stream. Remember, if you want to hit me with a super chat, I'll prioritize your comment or question. Distancing should be 1 point. Sorry, I just want to read some of you. Once again, I don't want to go too far ahead because you guys make the stream, so I want to read as many of your comments as possible. Distancing should be 1.5 meters or 2 meters instead of 1 meter in Italy. I agree, conservator. I think that's a very valid point. Where was I today? I don't remember where I was. Somewhere today here in my village, and it was quite crowded, and I was trying to maintain social distancing at all times. And sometimes it's difficult because you have people bumping into each other, people looking at their phone, and they're not respecting social distance because they're looking down. Most people are wearing masks, but a lot of people are not. And you're always afraid to overstep and say, challenge people, because you don't know how people will react. Some people will react positively, like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, or whatever. Other people will become violent, in joke there. 400 viewers and only 136 likes, that's not good enough. For the hamsters, do it for the hamsters. Smash that like button for the hamsters. Or I'll have to bring up Matt Hancock on the screen. But it's concerning because a lot of people are not wearing masks. Or just, what was it? Somebody I read online, somebody, maybe it was on Discord, somebody had written, chin bras. It's not a mask, it's a chin bra. But that's not good enough. We need to cover our nose. And we have to remember that a mask is not some sort of, Captain America shield. It's not going to completely protect you. It's not going to completely protect other people. It's the bare minimum that we need to practice in order to protect ourselves and to protect others. But we can't, But I think Conservator makes a very valid point. Chin diaper. I prefer chin bra. Chin hammock. Yeah, let's get over 400. Yes. What was I saying? Yeah, we need face pants. That's a great comment, Dog Nuts. Hit the like if he brings up Matt Hancock. You're in trouble. My bad. I meant your namesake, Chris Evans. Where is the Antifa HQ? I don't think they have a HQ. Portland. Nose knickers. I love these comments. COVID can be caught twice. Yeah, and no, I don't know if Boris Johnson has Boris face nappy. Chin dom. Barnstrap UK. Dory Marks, if the channel and your OnlyFans don't do well in exile in UK, always tarmac driveways. Thank you so much for that. How do you know about my about my OnlyFans? Only 12 straw polls. See Bold, great to see you on the stream. So let's jump into this. So the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, has refused to disclose whether he will profit. Refusing to disclose. It's like if somebody were to ask me, Max, are you a millionaire? And I say, I'm not going to tell you that. That would probably say, he probably is. If you ask me, are you a millionaire? I say, That would be fantastic. I'd love to be a millionaire, but I'm not a millionaire. Then you can probably imagine that I'm not. So if Rishi Sunak is saying, I'm not going to tell you whether I'm profiting from this. Yes, of course he's profiting from it. Anyway, whether he profit from the surge in the share price of the COVID-19 vaccine manufacturer Moderna, one of the biggest investments held by the hedge fund he co-funded before entering Parliament. Now, is there any possibility of insider trading here? I know he's not the health secretary, he's the chancellor. But shouldn't he have like de-invested or something to avoid a conflict of interest? He's making decisions for the country. He's deciding where public money is spent. Isn't there a risk of of a conflict of interest somewhere? Moderna has become the latest biotech firm to announce successful trials of its vaccine, declaring on Monday that it was 94.5% effective in trials. Sunak was the founding partner of Thieme Partners, I know I'm mispronouncing that, a major investor in Moderna. So I just... Lots of cookies. Thank you so much for that super chat. This is a donation to my favorite channel, and at the same time a call to action to sponsor the next Downing Street fridge. We need a big one. Thank you so much for that. And yes, Boris Johnson needs a new fridge. A big fridge for everyone to be put inside, everyone to hide in, including Dominic Cummings. Thank you so much for that. Ben Browning, how's life in your town? Very quiet. Here in Italy at the moment, everything closes at 6 p.m. Bars, restaurants are all closed at 6 p.m. So it's very quiet here. I was out just before 6. Just before 6, and things were starting to close up. It was dead. And now because we're getting close to winter. Winter is coming. It was very dark as well, so it's quite depressing actually. How much is Sunak worth? I think Sunak is worth... I'm here to serve. How much is Rishi Sunak worth? Mm. 2020 he's worth £10 million. I don't believe that. I believe he's worth a lot. Here we go. This is from Forbes. I'm not going to open the article here, but we can see newly installed Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak, leaving richest person in India with a net worth of £2.5 billion. Is there anything else? I think he's worth about 2.5 billion. Man of the people. Looking at, when Rishi Sunak says, we've increased universal credit, we've given an extra £20 to, for each person on universal credit, so they, be careful how you go. What does £20 mean to Rishi Sunak? Does he have there's there's novelty toilet paper. His is actually isn't novelty. It's made out of £20 notes or 50s. So he's like, he doesn't even know what £20 is like, because I use a 50 when I have to go. So Rishi is worth £10.73 if you grind him down exactly the minerals for scrap value. Yeah. If you take part in Mars bar promo competition, the rules state that you won't work or be related to anyone who makes Mars bars. Mars bars are covered by company rules unless the cabaret. Okay. That was before COVID procurement and pounds financial stress. That's true. Sausage fingers. I don't understand what that is. Okay. Well, let's continue. It's not known whether the Chancellor retained any investments in the TMA fund after leaving. TMA is registered in the Cayman Islands. Wow, why is it registered in the Cayman Islands, I wonder? Because it's a tax haven, which does not make company records public. So you have the Chancellor of the Exchequer, who has money, who's one of the founders of a company, of a hedge fund, investment company, who has investments in the Cayman Islands to avoid paying tax. And this is perfectly fine. Ordinarily, a partner in a hedge fund would own a stake in a management company and have money invested in its fund. You understand that these people make huge amounts of money by not actually working. They're not actually providing any service. They're not actually, digging a ditch or putting, bricks on top of each other. What they do is they have money, they put it somewhere, and they watch it mature. Now, other people, the companies, are doing the work. The people at the bottom are working hard to enrich the company. And these hedge fund managers just sit there and they watch the money roll in. Now, some people will say, well, they're taking a risk or whatever. But this isn't work. This is one of the problems we have in our society at the moment. And they, in many cases, bet on the company losing. And then they wait for the company to lose, and then they come in some cases, and buy up these companies. A year ago, Sunak declared in the list of ministers' interests that he was the beneficiary of a blind trust. The contents of the trust have not been disclosed to the public. And this is perfectly okay. Stock market filings show that TMA has a $500 million investment in the US-based Moderna, which accounts for around 20% of all the money it manages, about £2.5 billion. Shortly after the news, Moderna's successful trial broke, the Health Secretary Matt Hancock revealed that the government had secured an advance order of 5 million doses of the vaccine. TMA was reported to have invested in Moderna before the company listed on the Nasdaq exchange in 2018, when it was valued at more than $7 billion. Its share price rocketed this year on the hopes of a vaccine for coronavirus, and the stock value now stands at $39 billion. It's like Apple or something. But Apple actually, well, okay. Sunak's office refused to disclose whether his investments included a stake in the TMA fund or Moderna at the time his blind trust was created. A Treasury spokesman said the Cabinet Office has set out what are judged to be the relevant interests on the regular list of ministerial interests. The Chancellor appears to have retained contacts with his former firm. Of course, Jim Sheridan, a partner at TMA, was reportedly asked by Sunak to build a financial model for the government's business loans program. Jobs for the boys. The Treasury spokesperson said it was not unusual for politicians to draw on a range of expertise from outside government, and that Sheridan had access to publicly available data. Since entering Parliament, Sunak has revealed almost nothing about his financial interests. His entry into the MP's register is among the shortest, stating only that he owns the property worth more than £100,000. It's probably like he's like, can I put down my garage as my property so that it looks like I only live in a house worth about £100,000 or £150,000, and receives rental income on more than £10,000 a year. More than, $1 million is more than 10,000. In November last year, after being promoted to Chief Secretary of the Treasury, Sunak declared financial interests in a blind trust build management arrangement. This means that certain assets, including likely to include shares, have been passed to another person to manage. So this is what happens. Before they become the politician, they're afraid that the public might have access to these things. So what they do is they set up these companies, or they they hand their assets over to someone else to manage, and then this person says, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't have a look at these assets, you can't have a look at these investments because they're hidden away." And the politician, in a way, is clean. He meant his car. Yes. He'd probably drive, I don't know, like an Aston Martin or a Bugatti or something. As long as there are no pictures of Sunak at Epstein's Island, he'll be fine. Yeah, but they may turn up yet. Moderna vaccine is expected to be the most expensive. Moderna will not deliver at cost, but will make a profit on the vaccine, says conservator. I read about that. It's it's almost double the price of the Pfizer vaccine. I think the Pfizer vaccine will be about $20, or I don't remember if it was £20 or $20, and the Moderna one is going to be something like $39 per dose. Now I know the doses are going to be different. Maybe it's enough for a single dose one. So I'm not sure, but I do know it's more expensive. Max talks sense. I try. Thanks for that. Tories continue to swim in sewage. I wonder how many more will jump before Brexit. I expect Nigel Farage will disappear late December. That's interesting, and that's a story that's in progress at the moment. It's continually changing. Max, have you seen the epic rap battle of history, Trump versus Biden? No, I haven't seen that. Must check it out. It is £8 in the UK. I didn't understand that. Will the hypothetical deal include calendars? No, I hope not, Cotton Cat. Actually, somebody should do that. It would be, oh my god, can you imagine? So who would be Mr. January? Boris Johnson would be Mr. January because Brexit is delivered in January. February would be who? Michael Gove. Was it February? March would be Michel Barnier. April, Jean-Claude Juncker. Or you just want Brexiteers. If you just want Brexiteers, then there's the whole ERG that you can select from. You could have a double take. November, December could be Jacob Rees-Mogg and his sister. Where the hell am I going with that? Max, there's one produced in India, according to Dr. Campbell, for $6. Wow. Min in Malta, thanks for that comment. You really need to check out the epic. I will check it out, I promise. You'll be wetting yourself laugh. I was wetting myself laughing at the last live stream, so I have to be careful. Moderna may well have a Bing packaging and a classier gold box of like Benson and Hedges. That's probably true. That's why you're paying more for it. Mark Francois, empty page. Oh my god. So this idea, there's money to be made. Some people are making a lot of money on it, but the idea that the Chancellor of the Exchequer has money tucked away somewhere in a private fund, a blind trust, and he's a founder of a company that's registered in the Cayman Islands. If the police ever came to your home and said, we're going to arrest you for not paying your taxes, you should say, well, go and arrest Rishi Sunak first, because he's probably not paying his taxes because he has his money, hidden away on the Cayman Islands. Like the most senior person in the like the second most senior person in the cabinet has money tucked away in a trust, in a fund in the Cayman Islands. Like, we sort of laugh at banana republics, countries in Africa or in South America or in Asia where, the leaders drive around in Rolls Royces and have their money, back in the 80s, it was cool not to have it in the Cayman Islands, but to have it in Switzerland, that have, 25 tons of gold hidden away in Switzerland. Now the Cayman Islands is more how can I say? Damn, I can't think of the adjective. America? Vaccines will free monkey. Will be free. Yeah, no, the vaccines will, it's just the cost to the state. But, it would be ridiculous if you were if the health service were to charge people for the vaccine, because some people wouldn't be able to afford it and they wouldn't get it, so that would be completely counterproductive. Students should pay more taxes than these. Students pay more taxes than these millionaires. Exactly, Ed. I agree. Let's regulate. In Vogue, thank you so much, Lulu. Great to see you on the stream again, Lulu. Hope you're well. Yes. Yes. In Vogue, exactly. Fashionable. UK regime became wealthy because they set up plantations in what was banana republics. So surely UK PLC was the original banana republic. Don't tell that to Jacob Rees-Mogg. He'd be very offended. History was... The empire was a beautiful thing. Bet you'd do the same if you had money. That's an interesting point, but I can't actually answer that question because I don't have millions of pounds or euros or dollars. Max, how's the progress in your holiday calendar? Is your holiday tree up? No, there's no holiday tree up until December, I promise. Or maybe even before. Maybe the day before Christmas. Like, damn it, it's Christmas already. Better put up the tree. But the calendar, no, there is a calendar, but it's a limited, very, very limited edition. Great to hear that audible chocolate, Max. Why don't we invade the Cayman Islands? That would be a good idea. Isn't it interesting why we don't? Now, the European Union have been blacklisting tax havens like the Cayman Islands, and the UK have decided not to blacklist the Cayman Islands. But we also have to remember that the Queen Elizabeth II has money in Barbados, which is another tax haven, and perhaps also in the Cayman Islands, but I'm not sure. But I'm 90% sure she has money in Barbados. So that's, the head of state. Once again, we sort of laugh at third world countries that have money hidden away, in Switzerland or whatever, and first world countries are doing exactly the same. Don't worry, I'm not focusing only on Britain here. Many, for example, Berlusconi here in Italy had, I don't know how many types of funds and hedge funds and hidden away bank accounts. I imagine in every, he was covering all his he wasn't putting all his eggs in one basket, I can guarantee. She's Queen of Barbados, I suppose. Barbados is going to become a republic. Shocking the Queen is a tax avoider. Of course she is. Because it's expensive, It's good at taking money, but not very good at giving it back. For some reason, the former Prime Minister was angry against the invasion of Grenada by President Reagan. Mentioned the Cayman Islands. Look at the other islands. Look at the other places where the UK regime has offshore accounts. Barbados voted to remove her as head of state. But will they remove her bank accounts? Don't forget the King of Spain as well. Those corgis need a lot. Oh my god. The Queen is tax exempt, but she still also has offshore bank accounts. So I want to move away from that for a moment. Now, what's interesting here, I want to show you this article, this video from Sky News. It says here, coronavirus breaches, police to stop issuing £10,000 super fines. So what's this all about? So let's see this video.
Clearly in the way that this new law was set up in the first place, because it has led to some inequalities according to the National Police Chiefs Council, and that's why they have had to take the step now, writing to forces right across the country to say do not use fixed penalty notices again for this £10,000 fine, and instead go to a system of introducing court summonses. They've issued a statement just within the last few minutes to us. They say that on Friday the 13th of November we advised all forces to temporarily take enforcement steps by way of summons rather than by issuing a fixed penalty notice to the value of £10,000 for offences relating to gatherings of over 30 people under COVID regulations. It goes on to say, we gave this advice of a potential disparity between those who opt to pay by the fixed penalty notice and those who see their case reach court where the fixed penalty notice would be means tested against personal income. So in plain English, effectively what's happening is that those who are being issued with this fixed penalty notice for 10,000, a significant number of these people are perfectly understandably deciding that they want to appeal this very hefty fine. Now, in appealing it, it goes through the court process, and then of course it's up to a magistrate in court looking at all of the issues here, defendant, their background, their means, how much income they have coming in, etc., can decide that £10,000 of a fixed penalty is just too much for this person to pay, and either reduce the fine or give them a longer period of time in which to pay that £10,000 fine. So clearly pretty embarrassing for the government. The reason that this fixed penalty notice of up to £10,000 was introduced in the first place was to give the police more powers to tackle what was a growing, and it still is, an emerging problem during lockdown, which is...
This doesn't make any sense. So the government said, okay, we're going to impose a fine because people are not following the rules. Courts still operate? Yeah, I think so, Ben. 10 grand, that's a lifetime wage in the UK. See, maybe 10,000 was too much, but at least some type of fine, £1,000 fine. Because we need to encourage people to follow social distancing, to wear masks, things like this. Because if the fine isn't enough, before the fine was something like £50 or £100, that's not an incentive for people to follow the rules. And especially if they don't see any police officers actually handing them out. So I understand the government said, okay, let's go with a £10,000 fine to frighten people. But it doesn't seem to have worked because a lot of people were breaking the rule. We've seen videos of rave parties and people congregating outside pubs and restaurants. Yes, the courts are still operating with judges sitting in hearings remotely. The people should not complain about it. They should not break the law if it's their fault. They knew the risks. £10,000 fine completely and utterly destroy lives. Think of the poor drug addict that needs to see his dealer. Too bad the government needed the money. Needed that fine money. So issue just fine it. Just issued the fine to the Johnson family. Make them bury the dead. Yes, I think that was taking place in Chile. I think it was. Where there were people, or was it? No, the United States actually. The police were talking about a fine strike here in Belgium because they aren't getting the proper support and are burning out. A lot of the police don't understand, the rules themselves. So it's difficult for them to say, okay, do I issue a fine here or not? How about a fine based on your income? I think that's what they had in Switzerland in the past. So if you're like Rishi Sunak, you get somewhat of a bigger fine than someone like I would. Can anyone imagine Max at a rave party? No, I don't go to rave parties. I don't. My attire doesn't fit in for some reason. Imagine being sentenced to life for a bloke in his pants eating mussels. I really don't understand that comment. It'd be costing a fortune in legal aid. Sorry, I'm laughing at the previous comment. Yeah, it'd be costing a fortune in legal aid for the appeals. My advice to citizens: abandon ship. Force them to vote for Scottish independence. How is Trump conceding? We'll get to that in a moment. He seems to be conceding. Finland has salary-based combo. That's a good idea. Kent or Essex holiday for yeah, the fine should be you have to pick up bottles and bags in Kent. That doesn't sound so bad until you find out what's in those bottles and bags. Film the police beating you up is now illegal in France. Anyone live streaming the police will be beaten up and arrested and get their stuff smashed. That's unacceptable. That's a complete breach of freedom of expression. So we can't go down that road, and I'm afraid that maybe Macron does want to go down that road. Max on disco biscuits. Trump lost his case in Pennsylvania today. Yeah, I think it's his world is getting smaller. Trump's world is getting smaller and smaller all the time. Central Parks? No, Larry Parks. What was the name of a Central Perk? That was it. Somebody should do, the Friends. I think it was Friends, the TV show from the 90s. They used to go to that bar or restaurant or cafe. What was it called? Central Perk. Somebody should do a sitcom based on the Farage garages. That would be interesting. Welcome to Kent, our open air penitentiary. They threaten kids with fines, but let the public walk around in shopping streets with no supermarkets, and nothing that is sold. sorry, Eddie. I'm laughing. Now I have the giggles and I can't even read serious things. Oh my God! Here comes Don Trump. But they're letting people walk around in shopping centres. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So it turns out John Roy is daft. Thank you so much for that super chat. What did John Voight do today? Well, I know he's a Trump supporter. He's a Republican. He declares himself the only Republican, the only true Republican in Washington, in Hollywood. Filming the police beat you up, so now it's illegal in France. Not exactly. It's spreading those images that will be, but it's okay. Not making big difference. My world has got smaller as I've aged. Wait, not world. Oh my God, you guys are terrible. A sitcom about the Trumps losing all their money. It would be similar to Schitt's Creek. Yeah, I'd love to see something like that. Okay, let's see what else they have to say about these fines.
These organised events, mass gatherings, raves and other street and parties that are taking place with people of more than 30 in number gathering, it gives the police then an option to hand out pretty hefty fines for those organisers as a means of deterring them from doing that kind of activity. But now it seems that certainly according to the National Police Chiefs Council, it's not at all clear the way in which this fixed penalty notice system is operating. So they're saying suspend it, don't issue any more fixed penalties. You can still go through the process, but you have to do it by means of a court summons instead. In the meantime, the National Police Chiefs Council is urgently trying to address the matter with the Home Office with a view to coming up with a more permanent fix to this. It may be that going forward we see a system whereby the fixed penalty is noticed, but it's made very clear to a person receiving that fine that they can appeal through the courts process. That might be a way forward to do this in proper legislation, but it's obviously embarrassing. As I say, this was a key plank of law enforcement going forward as we entered this second lockdown, to give law enforcement authorities an option to clamp down on these.
It seems like another case of Boris Johnson doing something without thinking about it first. You know, the Home Office should know what they can do and what they can't do. The Home Office shouldn't be just saying, just throw this against the wall and see if it sticks. COVID-19 is one of the most insane, idiotic scams I've ever encountered. At no point was it rambling incomprehensive plausibility or ever close to fooling a rational thinking person. What are you talking about? I'm not sure what you mean. Hello from County Down, Max. Great to have you on, Snub. Hope all is well there. I know Northern Ireland is under lockdown at the moment. Or have you left lockdown? I don't mind heavy fines for organisers of parties that break the law as opposed to attendees. Yeah, if the organisers should definitely be fined. At least a hefty fines for them, or maybe also a fine for attendees, but they should be different, because it's much different organising something and just turning up. The Four Seasons Garden Centre could make a hilarious sitcom situated between a sex shop and a crematorium. No one would believe that. Wee Scott's dog. No one would believe that was possible. This is, you know, this is trash TV. Pretty Awful Patel is making these ridiculous, ineffective rules. Yeah, that's where it's coming from. Cyber Rash, thank you so much for that. Boris not thinking? Surely not. If Biden is Irish, then Max can be president too. Not sure if it works that way, but yeah. Lockdown was never about protecting the public, but about giving the government time to put measures in place to deal with the pandemic. Now it's the only tool they seem to have because it's cheap. And blaming the public. Blame the public for things going wrong. I've never heard Boris Johnson say, we made mistakes. He says things, he's quite, as we say in Ireland, cute, which means not cute as in, like a teddy bear, cute as in clever or sly, where he would say, I take responsibility for everything. But then when you point out, oh, so you take responsibility for the problems in care homes. No, not that. I don't take responsibility for that. Guys, head over to the straw poll. I'd like to see some of your opinions. So hit the link in the straw poll. It should open a window, and I'd like you to give your feedback there. Just it's a quick poll. Baldrick for PM. I agree with that 100%. See if I can. Okay, I want to change subject in a moment to Brexit, but before we get to Brexit, of course, we're halfway through the stream, and I want to lighten the mood a little bit. As always, it's important to keep it jolly. So, if you're new to the stream, welcome to the stream. Wow, we're up to over 400 viewers. That's fantastic. So, if you're new to the stream, usually about halfway through the stream, we have a little commercial, not a commercial break, a comedy moment, a funny video. I'm going to show it to you now, and then we'll get back to the serious discussions.
I just have one thing to say. Hit the road, chop, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, chop, and don't you come back no more. What do you say? Hit the road, chop, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, chop, and don't you come back no more. Sleepy Joe, why don't treat me so mean? You're the meanest old man that I've ever seen. I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go. That's right, hit the road, Chop, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Chop, and don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Chop, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Chop, and don't you come back no more.
Oh, well.
Don't you come back no more.
I don't care what you say.
Don't you come back no more.
I'm not going anywhere.
Don't you come back no more.
It makes me sad.
Don't you come back no more.
Okay, this guy's crazy. We're out of here.
Hit the road.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's really good. So you can check out this guy's this channel. Okay. Well, Dr. Johan, thank you so much for that super chat. A peach. Yummy. Okay, Lola is is happy with the stream. JK, calm down. You're fired. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. I'll just close this. Of course, we're on to Brexit now. Let me see if I can bring up your. One moment. I should have done this during the break. Of course, I didn't do that because I'm an idiot. Okay, so the EU to vote on Brexit deal by delaying until the 28th of October. So I talked about this in one of the videos where there was this idea that the EU were going to vote on the Brexit deal. One moment. Apologies, I want to send something. I'm right here, don't worry, I haven't gone away. Okay. I want to show you the straw poll in a moment. So I said about how that there is a chance that the EU would move the date from the 16th of December, where they would have their vote on any potential deal with Boris Johnson, to the 28th. Now, if they're moving this, I think it points us. I don't know. It opens up the idea that maybe Boris Johnson is getting a deal. Max is running away. No, I'm not running. I'm right back. I think it opens up the idea that there's a possibility of a deal. Now, it's not a guarantee, of course. 28th December is both my parents' birthdays. Oh, that's great. And they're both boomers. Seemed like an appropriate date. Shame that they are Remainers and won't appreciate that gift. So the European Parliament will seal a Brexit trade deal. Will vote to seal a Brexit trade deal. Could be delayed until the 28th of December, 3 days before the end of the transition period under an emergency EU plan. With less than 7 weeks to go before the UK leaves the single market and the customs union, the negotiations remain troubled, with the talks on fishing rights in the UK waters not progressing significantly since the summer. The negotiations were not in a good place on fishing rights. Ireland's Foreign Minister Simon Coveney said as the two sides re-engaged in the discussions. Now, some people seem to think, and I actually was thinking about this for a while, but it's actually maybe not true. The negotiations are still going on. So that's a positive sign. Well, not really, because these negotiations have been planned in advance. And the EU have decided, it seems, look, we're going to continue the negotiations until the end. So they're not extending them. They're not changing. Michel Barnier is not changing anything to facilitate some sort of change. He's not changing the date because Boris Johnson has turned around and done something different. This has been already set. But we'll see if this actually makes any difference. The EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, is understood to be able to report positive news, is understood to want to be able to report positive news to the bloc's EU 27 member heads of state and government, at a video conference summit on Thursday, so I'll definitely do a video on that if we get something. But the timeline for the deal has repeatedly slipped, with agreements now more likely to be found next week or even later, putting in jeopardy a scheduled European Parliament vote on the deal on the 16th of December. MEPs have said that they need 6 weeks for the deal to be translated, scrutinised and passed through committees and the final full plenary vote. Sources in the European Parliament said that they had been having discussions about holding an extraordinary sitting of the chamber after Christmas on the 28th of December, as a senior EU diplomat conceded that Brussels might need to be creative to get the agreement ratified. Now, there is also a possibility that, and I don't like this, but the European Union might avoid the European Parliament and just ask heads of state, sorry, not heads of state, but prime ministers or heads of government, I should say, get them to ratify it. I'm not a big fan of that because I don't think it's a good idea for the European Parliament not to have a chance to scrutinise it. We need to be a patriot and eat fish. Mike, UK is not breaking the single market. UK is not worth breaking the single market. Biden wouldn't even talk to the UK whilst Don was in situ. Max, does 28th of December give the fish a head start to get out of UK waters, escape? Well, you know, we're telling them now, so I know they don't have their passports maybe stamped, but go anyway. Get those fishing nets around the UK sea, lads. The only reason I'm terrified about next year is I won't worry about the things I have no control over. Vicky, thank you so much for that super chat. Still watching, Max. Just too busy to chat. Setting work for both those off-site and those in school, learning every evening. Busy. Sorry to hear that you're so busy. Great to have you on the stream, even if you're just following, if you're listening. Thank you so much for that super chat. Very, very kind of you. I know it's for teachers. It's a very, very difficult period now because you have everything is going online, and it's not the way to teach. You spend more time in front of a bloody computer than you actually stand in front of your students. Fish lives matter. Biden has no incentive to care about a UK trade deal. No. If the Good Friday Agreement is damaged in any way, he's not going to agree to sign off a trade deal. Which doesn't make any sense to me from Boris Johnson's point of view. Why would Boris risk that? If Boris doesn't feel that he's going to be in office anymore, fix it. Fish it. Breaking news, Boris tries to save the fish from drowning. It goes on to say, where was I? Senior sources, Christmas, the Parliament. So the Parliament's vote is likely to take place in Brussels rather than Strasbourg due to measures in place to control the spread of COVID-19, although the French government has been lobbying for a return of MEPs to Strasbourg. We are really in the last week to 10 days of this, Coveney said. If there is not a major breakthrough over the next week to 10 days, then I think we really are in trouble, and the focus will shift to preparing for no deal and all the disruption that brings. I think the British government understand only too well, I don't think so, what's required for a deal this week. The real question is whether the political appetite is there to do it. I think we will get a deal. That's been my prediction for a long while, but I won't be shocked if it all falls apart. The outstanding issues remain the level of access the UK waters providing to EU fishing fleets, fair competition rules for businesses, including rules on domestic subsidies, and the mechanism in the final treaty for resolving future disputes. The UK's chief negotiator David Frost tweeted on Sunday that there had been some progress in a positive direction in recent days. this is what you hear all the time. You don't actually hear what the progress was, just we're making progress. And this is on both sides. They will say, yeah, we're making progress. Things are heading in the right direction. But there's a lot of, there's a long road ahead. A lot of this type of political language that doesn't really mean anything. Now, David Frost could be saying it to sort of cover his arse, to say, look, we are doing our job. It's a bit like if your boss asked you, have you cleaned the room? If you're a cleaner and they say, have you cleaned the room? And you say, I'm making good progress. But have you done it or not? There's a bit more to do, but, well, can you tell me what parts you have cleaned? No, we're making progress. We're getting there. It doesn't tell you a lot. And I don't know whether David Frost is lying or if he's telling the truth. But he insisted that his negotiating position on the most contentious issues had not softened in light of the departure of Boris Johnson's chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, the former campaign director for Vote Leave. It is understood that the common ground is being found in the shape of a deal for how both sides will regulate domestic subsidies, but there is no agreement on the mechanism for maintaining similar baseline environmental, labour and social standards in the years to come. The UK insists it will not tie itself to the Brussels rulebook. But once again, actually, I'm just repeating myself when I go into these discussions. Coveney particularly emphasised the danger posed by the issue of fishing rights to blow up the negotiations, despite its comparably small economic value. Yes, and I think I want to thank someone. I just received. Oh yes, Carrie, great to have you on the stream. Boris just finds it difficult to make a decision. Thank you for coming on the stream, Carrie. Well, I think, sometimes you have to stand by your man, but you also have to push him in the right direction. Boris is a bit of a child, and Boris sometimes needs to be led in the right direction. He needs someone to hold his hand, say, "Don't worry, Boris. I'll take these steps for you." Really, thank you so much for that super chat, Carrie. But you should get back to ruling the country. The UK post-Brexit is not just that irrelevant to Biden. He's just bigger fish domestic and in China to deal with. I read an interview with the Biden advisor that they see France as a key EU contact now. It's not worth the hassle. That's not his hand. No. 4 candles. That's terrible. Ben, thank you so much for that. So I think moving forward, once again, we're not seeing any progress. They're talking about we're making progress, but we're not actually seeing any changes take place. And it's, once again, it's typical political language. Yeah, we're making progress. We're going in the right direction. There are many things to be resolved, but we're not actually hearing much about that. Just to come down to this, let me just a moment, because I asked you guys on the stream. No, why isn't it working? One moment. Okay, so about Brexit, I posted. I got the mods to post a straw poll. So let's have a look at the results of the straw poll. So 50 of you voted. Thanks for voting. So do you think Boris will get a last-minute deal? 48%. Let me just make sure that all of you can see this. Yes. So 48% said no, 30% said yes, and 22% are not sure. And then you can see how it laid out. So thanks for replying to everyone. So not. I think most of you are. I think we're all pretty much in the same boat. It's looking very, very doubtful. I don't think Boris Johnson is going to get his deal. I think it's just too late at this stage. Even if he were to agree to everything, there probably isn't enough time because it needs to be translated, it needs to be ratified. Couldn't find the link. I'm sorry about that. Mea culpa, couldn't resist. I think yes. Monkeytron thinks he will get a deal. I think it's difficult to say at this moment. I think all of the indicators are no. But we don't know Boris Johnson. We don't know what he'll do. It depends on what he thinks he can get away with. And my biggest fear is that he's attempting to keep the... I post actually this on the channel, these results on the channel as well. But I think he's afraid of the ERG. He's afraid of the Brexiteers in his party. You know, he could get it through Parliament without the ERG, without the Brexiteers, because he could ask the opposition to help and he would win. But I'm afraid that he's too afraid of the Brexiteers. He's afraid that if he were to ask Keir Starmer to help out and get the deal through Parliament, he would never be forgiven by them and they would have him removed. What would happen is there would be some issue that the opposition would not agree with supporting him on, and then they would pounce and they would bring down the government. That's what they would do. So he's afraid of them all the time. I think we're almost at this stage where I think Boris Johnson would prefer to crash out without a deal than to actually piss off the ERG. I hope I'm wrong. I actually believed for a long time that no, he wouldn't do that because he cares about his future. And he cares about delivering something. This would be seen as a failure. Because what has he achieved in the year that he's been, almost a year and a half, that he's been Prime Minister? What has he achieved? Almost nothing. This could have been his achievement. Delivering Brexit. Remember, get Brexit done. The oven-ready Brexit deal. He removed comments and co. I guess he did that. Have you been a good boy, Boris? Jeff Taylor says hello. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the stream, Jeff. I hope you're well. So I want to move on. Just one other thing. So I just want to talk a little bit about Scotland. Now, Boris Johnson has been a bad boy. We're moving from Boris to Scotland, which are ironically are connected. Let me just bring it up here. So Boris was on a Zoom call. Now, don't worry, he had his trousers on this time. He was on a Zoom call and he said some things he probably shouldn't have said about Scotland and about devolution. So he says, devolution, a disaster north of the border, says Boris Johnson. Scottish politicians react angrily to Prime Minister calling it Tony Blair, who was on the stream earlier on, Tony Blair's biggest mistake. This is hilarious. So politicians across the spectrum have reacted angrily after Boris Johnson dismissed devolution as a disaster north of the border. During a Zoom call with around 60 Northern Conservative MPs on Monday evening, the Prime Minister described devolution as Tony Blair's biggest mistake. Really? You know, when I think of Tony Blair and I think of mistakes made by Tony Blair, devolution isn't really at the top of the list. You know, there is another country A bit further afield that I think of as being, Tony Blair's biggest mistake. And following, an American, a particular American at the time, could be a bigger mistake. But anyway, while Downing Street still later stressed that the remarks referred to Scottish National Party management, no, that's they're trying to claw something back. Look, okay, Boris messed up. How do we fix this? How do we, how do we start? How does it instigate Operation Damage Control? Saying that he was talking about the SNP. No, this is about devolution. But Boris Johnson has never been a fan of devolution. Most Tory MPs are not fans of devolution. Otherwise, they would have pushed it. Why was it Tony Blair that pushed it instead? Johnson's comments will be seen as especially provocative, with support for Scottish independence showing a sustained lead in polling throughout 2020, and ongoing frustration from both Scottish and Welsh governments at the lack of communication from Westminster during the coronavirus pandemic. I said before, no, I won't say this again, because I'm going to piss off most of the Scottish people on the stream. It's not actually anything about the Scottish people. It's like, I've said this before, that, look, Boris Johnson has done more for a united Ireland than the IRA and Sinn Féin. He's done more for a united Ireland in 1 year than they have achieved in 90. Boris Johnson is doing great things for Scottish independence. Not intentionally, of course. Go on. No, I won't say. You fucking say it and you get... Okay, no, I'm not going to say it. Some people know what I'm talking about, but I won't repeat it. It's for another time. I'm going to get destroyed on Discord now. While Downing Street later... Sorry, I said that, yes. Blair, the prime architect of devolution, delivered his 1997 manifesto, committed to holding referendums, with Scotland and Wales voting for their own parliaments, and Unionists and Nationalists in Northern Ireland forming a power-sharing coalition following the 1998 Good Friday Agreement. I remember that. I'm old, okay, for most of the people on the stream, but I remember that. I remember I was living near the border in Northern Ireland, and I remember Tony Blair delivering this, and it was a historic moment. And Tony Blair was, at the beginning, before Iraq, Tony Blair was seen as someone who was almost beyond before his time. To go... Max is old. To go forward to deliver something like this was unprecedented. Boris the Great, thank you. Let me go on. So, Scotland's First Minister, this is hilarious. So, Scotland's First Minister responded on Twitter saying, worth bookmarking these PM comments for the next time Tories say they're not a threat to the powers of the Scottish Parliament, or even more incredibly, that they support devolving more powers. The only way to protect and strengthen the Scottish Parliament is with independence. Like when Jacob Rees-Mogg says the Internal Market Bill is to help Scotland, is to strengthen devolution, well, people can, PMQs, I'm waiting for PMQs tomorrow, Wednesday, when Ian Blackford stands up and asks some questions. It's going to be interesting to hear what he has to say. I hope he says something about this. Johnson called the MPs from Downing Street, where he is self-isolating after coming into contact with an MP who later tested positive for coronavirus, as he tries to reset his leadership after a turbulent year from coronavirus and infighting in Number 10. So Boris Johnson is his own worst enemy. I've said this before. When Boris Johnson went to Scotland, he was smuggled in, under the cover of darkness. He stayed in a tent, unknown location. You know, you couldn't get a mobile phone signal or anything. Even satellite phones weren't working there. And then he was eventually found out, and then he had to be smuggled out again. Oh my god. Let me read some of your comments. Who was better, better Mayor Rudy, or sorry, who was better mayor, Rudy or Boris? Answered John. Albert Reynolds. Oh my god, Albert Reynolds. They were mad times. Ian Blackford will be dying to ask. I can't wait to see it tomorrow. Maybe Boris won't. Well, Boris won't be there because he's self-isolating. Damn it. So who's going to stand in for him? I assume it'll be Jacob Rees-Mogg, or maybe someone else. No, it could be someone else. Max Matt. They should have a truck park in Eton rather than Kent. It would have been more fitting to the reality. I agree 100%. Cotton Cat. Max, a date with Boris or Pretty? Boris for the jokes and Pretty for the smirk. Dominic Raab normally. Oh my god, it'll be Dominic Raab. Oh god. I think they said they're going to doing it virtually. So Boris Johnson is okay, that's even better. So he won't be off the hook. Boris is going to do it by Zoom because it went so well last time. I'd go with Boris. He's doing PMQs via stream, Max. That should be fun. So I'll definitely cover it tomorrow, probably at 12 o'clock here in Italy. Surely if he's self-isolating, there's no reason he can't do PMQs by webcam. He's tested negative. My bet on Gove. No, most of the people here on the stream think he's doing it by Zoom. Wouldn't you think the government would have their own tool, not using some third-party one? I see that the Tories being happy to jettison Northern Ireland, Scotland, and possibly Wales, but do they really want to ditch the north of England too? I think if things start to turn sour, then they definitely will. So if the northern voters see Brexit as a disaster, if they start to see public services in the north being cut, there are massive debts piling up, and I don't think Rishi Sunak is going to raise taxes on the rich to pay for this. So the alternative is to cut public services, and I think there's going to be a clash in between number 10 and number 11, Downing Street, where who's going to win? Are we going to cut services? Well, if you cut services, that's going to undermine the Prime Minister. But if you raise taxes, we're going to piss off the donor class. So what are you going to do? Eventually, England will exit from itself. Tools, they're the tools that government. They're all tools in that government. So this was interesting about Boris Johnson opening his mouth and putting his foot right in it. And even the Labour Party are jumping on board and criticising Boris Johnson for this. And even just at the very end, there was a small voice of of concern for Boris. So it says here at the very end, Scottish Conservative leader Douglas Ross, who has spoken out against Westminster policy on a number of occasions since his election in July. Poor Douglas, is in a difficult position because he can't criticize the party, because if he criticizes the party, he will, be sidelined. He needs to be, on board with the party, but then he can't be on board too much, because then the Scottish people will say, why are you supporting Westminster? He has to understand that the winds are changing. More and more people in Scotland are, supporting independence. So he can't be completely against that. But then he can't be for it either, because if he is, then he goes against the ethos of the Conservative Party. The Unionist, Conservative and Unionist Party. Although I think they're only Unionist when it sort of serves their interests. Anyway, he said he appeared to partly contradict Johnson, saying devolution has not been a disaster. No. The SNP's non-stop obsession with another referendum above jobs, schools and everything else has been a disaster. So he's trying to give Boris a bit of wriggle room there. I was also going to talk about the lockdown in Scotland. So Scotland has gone into another lockdown, and that's extremely concerning because there was a hope that things were going to improve. I just want to say a little bit about that, and then we can move on to the United States, where all hell has broken loose. It just says here, COVID, near lockdown curbs imposed on west of Scotland. 7 local authorities to enter level 4, highest of Scotland's 5-tier system of coronavirus controls. More than 2.7 million Scots will face near lockdown restrictions for 3 weeks after Nicola Sturgeon imposed the country's highest level of COVID restrictions across the west of Scotland. Following a cabinet meeting on Tuesday morning, Scotland's First Minister told MSPs that the 11 local authority areas would enter level 4, the highest of Scotland's 5-tier system of virus control, from 6 p.m. this Friday for a limited period. And these here are the areas that are covered. I think Scotland is going to go into a lockdown as well at some stage. These tiered systems don't seem to be working. We need to go into a full lockdown, and there is no other alternative, because once again, as I've said before, you have people who may be in one tier, they're able to move to another tier. Scotland is not as densely populated as England, so it's somewhat easier, not much easier, it's somewhat easier to manage. But if the cases are increasing, then it's still a problem. And I think a lockdown will eventually come to Scotland as well. But I haven't been following the coronavirus in Scotland very closely. So I want to move across the water to the United States, which is crazy. Okay. So Donald Trump lost the election, and Donald Trump is refusing to concede. Now there have been some tweets from him saying, yeah, the other guy won, and then he immediately decided to backpedal. Look, I think Donald Trump knows deep down that he has lost. And what he's doing now is he's just trying to buy time. Trump for Queen. Orkney and Shetland are responsibly okay and pretty separate from the mainland. What people don't seem to understand is money flowing through London is not necessary UK money, but rather EU companies and companies dealing with the EU. Yeah, that's a very important point to remember, Eddie. They seem to, but Brexiteers don't seem to understand the complexities. They seem to prefer just very simple things: fish, blue passports, get Brexit done. Brexit means Brexit. Don't go any more complicated than that. Could UK government get Trump knighted? Oh my God. I guess it's possible. I don't know. Well, I assume, no, do you have to be, no, you don't actually have to be a UK citizen to be knighted. Or do you? I'm just trying to think of, I'm trying to rack my brain. Is there anyone who's not a UK citizen who has been knighted? But there are different types, there's like MBE and OBE, so I don't know if it makes any difference. Could Mr. Trump join a play and become a top billing at the Mr. T show? It'd be a step up, wouldn't it? I live in the Highlands, an area bigger than Belgium. We don't need lockdown as we have hardly any cases. Ireland's are also virtually virus-free. That makes it, well, Gordon, thanks for that comment. See, I don't know that much about what's happening in Scotland, so I just fear that we need to have a lockdown to get the cases in the entire country down, and then it's almost like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. But I think this tiered approach isn't working because I know there isn't a lot of movement taking place in the Highlands, and it's in a sense it's unfair to have them in a tiered system, or in a lockdown. But I think we need to generally get the numbers down to have a functioning test and trace and isolate system. Nelson Mandela was knighted. I'm an idiot. Yes, of course. So yes, Donald Trump could be knighted. Sir Donald Trump. He would be the greatest sir since Jimmy Savile. Let me see. Rudy, is Geldof Irish? He was knighted. Oh yes, he was. I'm not the best person to be asking. Bob fucking Geldof. How has a knighthood? How about a knighthood for my? No, I'm not a big fan of those. But bad history with those types of things. Down with that sort of thing. And Scotland has managed to move arses down tiers as well, unlike England. Britishers may get an honorary knighthood, Bill Gates, but you cannot be sir or dame. Max to be knighted. Sir Widow Twanky, Trump KFC. Sir Orange Pumpkin. Get trumpetics done, yes. But US citizens cannot use Sir title. Does anyone think, but Donald Trump would buy, or when he conned someone into giving him a title? So he would call himself Sir, but he would where's Carrie gone? I think she's gone to keep Boris company. Anyway, so it says here, but of course Donald Trump hasn't gone away yet. Remember, he won't leave office until the end of January. But that doesn't mean that he can't do any damage. So it says here, Iran warning of crushing response if Trump targets nuclear site. So outgoing president reported to have looked at military options against Iran and its allies. Just what you need, somebody who has, like, they've lost their job and they decide, I'm going to, I don't know what, I'm going to trash the place before I leave. I'm going to download, a Trojan on every computer before I leave the office. This is basically what he's doing, but on a worse scale. Iran has warned of a strong response if Donald Trump goes ahead with plans to use the twilight of his presidency to mount a strike on Iran or its allies in the region. It was reported that Trump last week looked at options for striking Iran's main nuclear site, but was dissuaded from taking action after his advisors warned it might lead to a larger conflict in the Middle East. The report was sourced to 4 U.S. officials by the New York Times. And then, of course, the Iranian government spokesman Ali Rabieli warned against any such attack. Any action against the Iranian nation would certainly face a crushing response. Okay, it's a typical response from Iran. But the idea that Donald Trump is saber-rattling before he leaves is extremely concerning. What else is he going to do? Now, on one of the streams, one of the post streams chats, we were talking about this, and one of the commenters, I can say Night Raven, who's on the stream tonight, I think, said that there's a huge concern that Donald Trump might try to crash the economy before he leaves office. So he would leave the economy in tatters for Joe Biden, who would attempt, over the next 4 years to try and recover the economy, breathe life back into it. And by the time, and he would be, of course, thwarted at every moment by the Republicans in the Senate, which is very important that Joe Biden, his party, win the Senate, take control of the Senate away from the Republicans. Not press the button, hopefully. Not impossible. I'd change the furniture. If Donald J. Trump tries to crash the economy, he might end up saving it. That's possible. He's apparently auctioned off oil drilling rights. For nothing, probably. Trump invading Iran, fake news. Like a cybercrime. A cyber criminal. Yeah. I honestly think it's we are overthinking what Trump will do here. I hope so, for candles, because I'm afraid of what he's. He has the ability to do many things that would be damaging, and he doesn't care about people. He doesn't care about Joe Biden. He doesn't care about his legacy, because anything that would be said about him, anything that's said about him from the beginning of his presidency has been forgotten. Remember the build the wall, drain the swamp, lock her up. That's all forgotten now. The things that he has said about Mexicans, about immigrants, about Muslims, all of these things that he said in the past have been forgotten. His supporters don't care about that. Donald Trump could say, I hate Hillary Clinton one day and I love Hillary Clinton the next, and they would be completely on board with both of those scenarios. I hope so too. I live 20 miles away from him. Oh my God. But Trump is a big red button as a farewell present for Christmas. Never underestimate the depths of a malignant narcissist. Yes, malignant narcissist. Trump will remove all his fake tan and go because he's unrecognizable. But more scared about boho did to my firstborn country, family and friends. Bojo. I still think we switched the atomic football to an actual. That would be hilarious. Like, give me the football. Okay, how do I open this thing? Where's the button? Is it inside? Yes, Mr. President, you need to cut it open. That should buy us some time. You imagine Trump trying to cut open a football to get a button inside, an actual football, not the football used by the military, by the Pentagon. He'd start, with the scissors trying to cut it, and then go, to hell with this. I'm tired. I'm going for a nap, or I'm going to watch some Fox News. Trump will paint the White House orange. Stop the count and start the count. Yeah, that was hilarious as well. Trump the series on Trump TV. Everything he get, anything to get him out of the Oval Office. It can get worse, okay? Don't wish for things like this. It could get worse. Just another thing I want to talk about before we finish for the stream tonight. But my God, of course, remaining in the US, I just want to switch. We have Lindsey Graham, who is probably the second most disgusting individual in the Republican Party after what's his name? The leader in the Senate, Mitch McConnell. So he's the second most disgusting person in the Republican Party after Mitch McConnell. Lindsey Graham is the type of sycophant of Trump where you don't know where he ends and where Trump begins. Lindsey Graham condemned for allegedly pressuring Georgia to toss out ballots. Georgia's Secretary of State says Republican Senator indicated states should find ways to exclude legal mail-in ballots in recount. So the idea that he would be telling the state, get rid of some of these ballots to help Trump. Democrats and political advisors were quick to condemn the Republican Senator Lindsey Graham after it was reported that he pressured Georgia's Secretary of State, George Raffensperger, to exclude ballots in the state's presidential recount. Is that not illegal? In a tweet, Minnesota Congressman Ilhan Omar called the alleged approach insane and illegal. Like, couldn't he be arrested for this? Is he protected? Does he have diplomatic immunity or something? That he can't be, well, not diplomatic immunity, but some type of immunity. That he can't be arrested for this? This is breaking the law. This is anti-constitutional. You know, the Republican Party who keep talking about the Constitution. Respect the Constitution, respect the Constitution. This is breaking the Constitution. This is, pissing on the Constitution. Lindsey Graham once very against Trump and then almost married the man. Joe Biden is going to outlaw orange paint. Graham should have his Senate race recounted. Who the hell votes for people like this? I understand the country is deeply polarized, but who the hell votes for these people? He should be in trouble if it's election tampering. But will he be arrested? That's my question. Is it possible to arrest a sitting congressman? Trump achieved more than Obama achieved in 2 terms. Who cares about his style except for the 90% plus? Okay, what has he achieved, Thomas? Did he build the wall? No. Did he drain the swamp? No. Did he improve people's lives? For example, did he get more people covered by health insurance? No, it was actually the opposite. You know, I like to hear Republicans and Trumpists say he's done so many things for Jim Jones, Reverend Jim Jones. He's done so many things for American people. You know, like for example, stuff and things. Trump achieved 200,000 dead citizens. They should, put that on a plaque. No, he won't be touched, Max. He has more power than we know. Lower taxes for the riches. No, that's true. So unless the guy who came on the stream here is a billionaire or a multi-millionaire, then I don't see how he's been helped out. Maybe you're convinced that you've been helped out. You've been told that you've been helped out by Donald Trump. I think Thomas has gone. Bit of a drop the bomb and then run away. 250,000 now, 250,000. Yeah, and at what stage will he achieve more dead than World War II? I think we're getting close to that. It's the Trumpets party. Don't blame the conned, they are the victims. No, I understand that. Facts trump prejudice. But at what stage are we going to have to allow, to go along with that? And I fully understand that point of view. The education system is the problem. Media is the problem. Almost built the wall. Good progress. Almost built the wall. How much of the build? Was it 200 miles? That's a bit short. Brought good news in several ways for Israel. So the people in the United States, so if somebody's getting poorer, at least they can say, well, Israel is happy. Reminded Europe about their responsibility. What responsibility? Good achievements for employment. Stock market. You understand that 90% of the stock market is owned by the top 10% The richest people in the country, have money in the stock market. They're benefiting from it. How is it when the stock market is going up? Yes, it's great. Trump is doing well. When the stock market goes down, it's nothing to do with Trump. The wall keeps blowing down. These people are a joke. I try to take people seriously, but if you're still voting for Trump, if you still believe that he cares about you, that he's doing something for you, then it's hopeless at this stage. Contractors are racing to do the wall, get paid. Anyone could have told him, if the wall is solid at the top and splattered down below the wind, it's going to rip it out like a sail. Stock market means nothing, of course. And okay, he's just trolling. Except for the American military, the US is a third world oligarchy. By dawn. 405,000 American dead in World War II. Yeah, and we're getting close to that. It's possible that before Trump leaves office, it will be somewhere around that. Just wait, Max, for the war on Christmas is about to begin. The war of Christmas is never over, is it? It's always, but every year it comes back, the war on Christmas. You're not allowed to say Merry Christmas. See? I'm not allowed to say Merry Christmas. Did you know you're not allowed to say Merry Christmas? That there's somebody stopping you from saying Merry Christmas. I like the wall slanted effect. Slatted effect, yes. There's some nice designs, but of course completely impractical. And defeated by, what was it, a saw that you could buy in a local hardware store, or a ladder, or a rope. Just spoiling the winner. Trump is a symptom of the representative Democrats' failure for workers, living standards, living standards and decline for decades. Yeah, and I think there's a real risk that what's going to happen is that the Republican Party will try to model itself on the party for the workers. Now that sounds insane now, but I think that's the direction that they're going to go. They're going to try and paint the Democrats as the anti-worker party, the pro-corporation party, and they are the party of the working class. And I think it may work. The Democrats need to get the working class on their side, and I think you need to provide Medicare for all. You need to provide something to people, and say that the other side are going to take that from you. The Republicans are going to take. We need to give people something valuable, like Medicare for all, free college education, end student debt, things like this. You need to provide something and continually push the idea that if you vote in those other people, they're going to take that away from you. You have Medicare for all. You're not paying for medical bills. If you vote for the Republicans, they're going to take that away from you. You need to show that there's a threat to this positive that you have. But the Democrats are in the pocket of the businesses and corporations. So they're not going to change that. There'll be, a few little changes around the edges. Raise minimum wage to counter inflation. A $15 minimum wage should be the standard. But there are so many things that need to be changed. But unfortunately, there's too much money involved in politics. Too many businesses that understand that, well, if I give money to a political party, they'll do what I want. Sometimes they give it to the Republican. Sometimes they give it to the Democrat. Democracy doesn't exist then. If a business or a corporation is able to give money to a politician, and that politician turns around and does its bidding, then what's the point in voting? If you believe that you should be able to have some sort of power over the politicians are there to represent us. If there's a middleman in between saying, actually, or if there's some type of competition, there shouldn't be competition between you and the corporation. The corporation should not be involved. They shouldn't be giving money over to politicians. That should be illegal. That's corruption, whether it's legalized or not. Stop the lying, but keep the music and dancing. Trump pet Republicans. The Democrats won with nothing but stop Trump. Won't work in 4 years. This is coming back. I agree, Monkeytron. It was about stopping Trump. Now that you stop Trump, what are you going to do? You need to provide people with something, a motivation to vote for you again. And I fear that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are just going to sit and spin their wheels. Do you say that? They're not going to do anything. World War II dead, 407,000, made up of Army and Air Force. Source US National World War II Museum. Thanks for that, QA Library. But I think we're heading in that direction now. The Supreme Court said that the corporations are people too. Then nothing will change. No conservatives and Republican strategies more in tune with each other than ever. Let me see. Pet Trump Proud Boys. The brown shirts of today. Hopefully post-Trump. Corporation Lives Matter. Good point. Are the Democrats going to win next time with no Trump? It depends on who the Republicans put up against Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. But I think this now is the time for the Democrats to put in place measures to keep the working class on side. Because if people don't feel that the Democrats have done anything for them, then they won't turn up. But you know who will turn up? It's the motivated people, the Republicans, the evangelicals. They are the people who will turn up and vote. They're always motivated. They're like, it's an election, okay. Who's the Republican? I don't care what their name is, what their policies are. I'm voting for them. And I'll go out and I'll motivate my family and my church and my country club or whatever to come out and vote. Those people will always vote. If you want the general public to vote for you, you need to give them something. You need to give them something. You need to give them something and tell them there's a threat to that. There's a risk it's going to be lost if the other people win. And I don't think the Democrats are very good at selling things. And I think there's so much corruption within the Democratic Party that they're sort of buggered because they're not able to understand that they need to, they can take money, okay, and serve the interests of the work of the corporations. But you need to be seen at least as helping ordinary people. And they're not seen like that. Is Joe Biden's 2020 version the post-Nixon Jimmy Carter? Asked Jimmy himself. Perhaps I think so. I think we're going to see something like that. But it depends on who is running against the Democrats in 2024. If it's some sort of generic Republican, I don't think it's going to be all that successful. But a week is a long time in politics, and we're still, we're 4 years away. It depends on whether Trump tries to run again. Will Trump try to run again? Trump is going to spend the next 4 years saying that everything was stolen from him. He's going to be continually crying like a baby. He's going to be organizing rallies. He's going to continue this campaigning. He hasn't given up campaigning. He's going to do rallies again. They'll be like, "Are you running for office again?" "Oh no, I'm just having my rallies. People love me." So I think he's going to continue to do that. Maybe not to the same extent, but if he's going to use some sort of media platform, I hope he uploads YouTube videos because I'd like to respond to them. Maybe he'll become a YouTuber. That would be hilarious. For some time being Biden has the high ground while Trump is about to jump. Also, who says Biden is going to run again? He's too old. I don't see him retiring, but maybe he will. But Joe Biden has done well for himself over the last number of decades. Hoping for a clean break, another slick talker. Trump won't have any money left. Let's hope Trump is in prison, in 2021. Guys, the stream is almost at 300 likes. And it's just 16 more. So come on, folks, smash that like button, people. We're almost at 300 likes. Let's hit 300 likes. Kanye. How many votes did he get? He probably got one anyway himself. Or maybe he was like, oh, damn, I forgot to vote. Was there some election or something on? That would be Kanye West. The Democrats need AOC to run for president. Yes. And I think she could actually... 13 likes to 300. Come on. Let's put Max over the top. Yes. AOC... I would love to see AOC run for president. Please don't say smash. Don't say what? Don't say smash. 60,000. What's that? I would love to see AOC run for president. It would be amazing. The Republicans would melt down. They hate her so much. There's so many things about her that they hate. It would be hilarious. Now, I don't know whether she's good at debating, whether she's good. Public speaking, I think she's fantastic. Yes, 312, 314 likes. Thank you so much, guys. You guys rock. Well, we're well over the time for the stream, so I'm going to have to end it here. But don't go, because we have our one for the road. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. We're over 400 viewers. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. I want to say a big thank you to the moderators who've done a fantastic job, and also for posting the straw poll. That was interesting. I might do another one for the next stream. That was nice, and we can have a different topic. It would be nice to see that again, and we'll have a look at other ways to improve the stream. I'm always open to ideas. I'm hoping to. So some of you are still on. I'm working on maybe doing a stream with some other YouTubers on, when it comes to Brexit. And we're getting close to the end of the year, so it'd be nice to do something special before the end of the year for Brexit. Now, I'm not going to name any names, but some of you probably know some who I'm on about. So hopefully we'll be able to put that together. It's a work in progress, sort of. Anyway, a big thank you to everyone who sent a super chat. We're greatly appreciated. Your kind donations are massively helpful to the channel. Remember, if you'd like to support the channel, you can also become a patron, and you have access to Discord, where after every live stream we have a chat on Discord. Check out the merch store as well. There's some funny t-shirts and mugs and stuff there. No obligations, of course, but do check it out if you're curious. And I'm also on Twitch, although I haven't streamed anything on Twitch yet, but I'm looking into dealing with that, doing something with that. So let's have our one for the road. It's a great live stream tonight, guys. Thank you so much for turning up. Let's put on Janie, sorry. Here we go.
Right, that's 11 councils went into level 4. And see, before MD says, calm down, you just have to accept it. I understand how fucking insane and angry and crazy and frightened this is making people. So just cut some people some slack. I mean, honest to God, I ripped all the knitting out of the jumper I did last night, and I've cleaned up the windies up the back and rubbed them that hard I near put my fucking fist through them. You're allowed to be angry and frustrated, and business owners are facing their businesses collapsing. So there isn't anything we can do right now except try to stick to the rules and support each other. So stop telling everybody calm down, it'll all be fine. It is difficult. It's really difficult, and it's upsetting people's mental health. Right, over to a journalist. No, you, Meatloaf, you later.
Who
right, there he's there.
Area is under consideration for Tier 4. There have been some reports that it could be up to 12 councils.
No, it's going to be 11. Edinburgh's not included, so Glasgow definitely is in Tier 4. So Edinburgh will be dead smug because they've got a castle in there in Tier 3. And I'm going to get a fucking big shout in it for the west of Scotland being in Tier 4. There's nothing I can do. The hospitals are going to be overwhelmed and folk are going to die. What the fuck can I say? So the best we can do is pull on our emotional life jacket and keep each other afloat. I mean, I did ask you not to stay in the house. I did ask you to stop gathering in places. I did ask you not to bend the rules. But no, folk fucking done it. Gonna end up my toe up their arse. Where's my clicky pen? Frank, get the door. I want a wee quiche today. Come on, Stuart. Margaret, move.
Fantastic. Once again, Janie. So, I love how she says windies. Cleaning the windies. Okay. Thanks once again for everyone who came on the stream. I see you all at the same time, 9:30 Greenwich Mean Time on Friday for the Friday night stream. Don't miss it. All new topics to talk about, of course, on Friday. So usual same bat time, same bat channel. So have a great week, guys. Have a great night if you're still up. And I'll see you all on Friday night at 9:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Have a great week. And as Boris Johnson always says, stay alert. Good night, guys. Take care.